Have you ever stopped to think about time? We measure it in seconds, in hours, in years. We see it as a steady river flowing ever forward, but is it? What if history is not a river but a series of doors? Most days we walk down a familiar hallway. The path is predictable, but what happens when, without warning, a new door swings open? On certain days, the entire course of human destiny changes. In a single rotation of the earth, the world we knew is gone forever. These are history's turning points. They are sudden, shocking moments that pivot the axis of our shared story. For 1,000 years, it was the jewel of Christendom, the city of Constantinople. Its massive walls had repelled countless invaders. It was more than a city, it was a symbol, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of ancient Rome. But on May 29, 1453, that truth was shattered. The world held its breath as the cannons of Sultan Mehmed II roared. Scholars and artists fled westward, carrying with them the priceless knowledge of ancient Greece and Rome. This exodus of minds helped ignite the flames of the Renaissance, a rebirth of culture and learning that would reshape the continent forever. The event also redrew the map of global trade. With the overland routes to the east now controlled by the Ottoman Empire, European kingdoms grew desperate for a new path to the riches of Asia. Driven by the need to bypass the old trade routes, a Genoese navigator named Christopher Columbus set sail. He was not looking for a new continent, he was looking for a shortcut. For months, his small fleet sailed across the terrifying, empty expanse of the Atlantic. His crew was near mutiny. Then, on October 12, 1492, a lookout shouted the word they had all been praying for: tierra, land! The moment Columbus and his crew stepped ashore in what is now the Bahamas, two separate streams of human history, flowing in isolation for millennia, violently collided. This was not a discovery, it was an encounter, a meeting of worlds that would irrevocably alter both. Entire civilizations like the Aztec and Inca, which had thrived for centuries with their own complex societies, religions and sciences, were brought to their knees. It was the day our planet became one, but it was a unity forged in fire and conquest, a shared history we are still struggling to understand. In the sweltering heat of a Philadelphia summer, a group of men gathered. They were lawyers, merchants and farmers, but they had a revolutionary idea. They believed that governments did not grant rights to people. They believed that people were born with them. On July 4th, 1776, these men did something audacious. They signed a document, the Declaration of Independence, and in doing so, they spoke a new nation into existence. This was more than a political breakup. It was a philosophical earthquake. The ripples of July 4th, 1776 spread far beyond American shores. It inspired revolutionaries in France, in Latin America, and across the globe. In Paris, the air was thick with hunger and rage. The people of France were suffering. On July 14th, 1789, the simmering anger of the Parisian people finally boiled over. A mob, desperate for gunpowder and weapons, did the unthinkable. They stormed the Bastille. The revolutionary cry for liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity, became a global anthem. Some turning points are loud, like the roar of a cannon. Others are as quiet as a pistol shot. On June 28, 1914, in the city of Sarajevo, a young Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip fired 2 such shots. Princip could not have known that his actions would ignite a global inferno. In a matter of weeks, a regional crisis had spiraled into the Great War, a conflict we now know as World War I. Just over a decade later, another kind of explosion occurred, not on the battlefield, but on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. The Roaring Twenties had been a period of unprecedented economic optimism. On October 29, 1929, known as Black Tuesday, the bubble burst, panic selling ensued, fortunes built over years were wiped out in hours. The Wall Street crash was a financial heart attack that sent the global economy into a state of shock, triggering the Great Depression. On August 6, 1945, the very nature of war and of human power changed forever. High above the Japanese city of Hiroshima, an American B-29 bomber released a single bomb. At 8:15 in the morning, the bomb detonated, unleashing a destructive force never before seen on Earth. A man-made sun bloomed over the city. Humanity had crossed a terrifying threshold. For the first time, we possessed the ability to cause our own extinction. On July 20th, 1969, the world stopped. An estimated 650 million people, the largest television audience in history at that time, were glued to their screens. Armstrong descended the ladder and placed the first human foot on another celestial body. His words echoed into history. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. For a brief, shining moment, the divisions of Earth seemed to melt away. They saw our world not as a patchwork of competing nations, but as a single, beautiful, fragile blue marble hanging in the blackness of space. For nearly 30 years, the Berlin Wall was the most potent symbol of the Cold War. It was a concrete and barbed wire scar that cut a city in two, separating families and friends. But on the night of November 9th, 1989, the impossible happened. People streamed through from east to west in a state of euphoric disbelief. Soon people were on top of the wall, dancing and chipping away at it with hammers and chisels. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a spontaneous, joyous celebration of freedom that signaled the end of the Cold War. Just over a decade later, another turning point arrived, this time not with joy but with terror. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, the sky was a brilliant cloudless blue. Then the unthinkable happened. Terrorists hijacked commercial airliners and turned them into guided missiles, striking the twin towers of the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The world watched in horror as the iconic towers, symbols of American economic power, burned and then collapsed into dust. These 2 days represent the bookends of an era. The fall of the Berlin Wall seemed to herald a new age of unity and cooperation, a new world order free from superpower conflict. The 9/11 attacks plunged the world into a new kind of struggle, the war on terror. These moments show us how history never truly ends, it simply turns a page. From the fall of walls that divide us to attacks that test our resilience, our shared human story continues to be written, one shocking, transformative day at a time.